MPs returned to the Commons this week after the Christmas recess. The best of the festive season's TV viewing might make for pleasant small talk in the corridors of power, but tends not to dominate parliamentary debate.
The computer system Post Office spent an arm and a leg on is faulty.
That is until ITV's four-part series on the largest miscarriage of justice in British history. The brilliant and blood-boiling Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, which aired last week, tells the story of the Post Office's Horizon scandal. Between 1999 and 2015, more than 700 Post Office branch managers were given criminal convictions for fraud and theft after faulty Fujitsu accounting software Horizon made it look like money was missing from their accounts. The docudrama has prompted MPs to push for an emergency debate in Parliament to correct the injustice and pay compensation to the hundreds of sub-postmasters who were wronged.
People don't actually imagine what it's like to be the victim, to have your money taken away, you lose your house, lose your job, lose your reputation, sometimes lose your life. But what that docudrama did was crystallise all that for people. So now we've got tens of millions of people who probably knew about the thing in the first place, because there have been other programmes about it, but now they're furious about it. All of them fail as convictions on the same single lie, and that is that nobody else had access to their computers. It's a lie, and once you've corrected the lie, the conviction falls away.
Liberal Democrat leader Sir Ed Davey served as Postal Affairs Minister for over a year in the Conservative Lib Dem coalition government. He has received criticism over his handling of the scandal, refusing to meet the sub-postmaster's campaign leader Alan Bates in May 2010.
Well, I wish I knew then what I know now, what we all know now, that this was a conspiracy on a huge scale, with the Post Office lying to the victims, to judges, to ministers of all political parties over decades. This is quite a national scandal, and I think at the front of our minds should be those people, those sub-postmasters who've had their lives ruined.
Of the 736 sub-postmasters who were prosecuted, only 93 have had their convictions overturned, whilst 54 have been upheld, withdrawn or rejected. Pauline Stonehouse had her conviction for false accounting quashed in November 2021, but is still waiting to receive her compensation in full after a decade of trauma.
It's a lot of stress for me and my husband. And then obviously the knock-on effect with the children, having to move schools, especially for the older one. It's a big impact, and then not being able to get a job because obviously I got to declare that I had a criminal record. So yeah, big impact with health and many problems connected to that as well.
The Prime Minister says he wants compensation to be paid out much faster.
Now, what we are now looking at is how can we speed all of that up, right? Understandably, I'm very clear, want to get that out the door as quickly as possible. There are legal processes that people have had to go through, but the Justice Secretary today is meeting with the relevant ministers to see is there more we can do to speed up some of those processes. But people should be rest assured the money is there.
Meanwhile, the Labour leader has called for prosecution powers to be taken away from the Post Office.
I think that the prosecution should be taken out of the hands of the Post Office and given to the Crown Prosecution Service. I used to run the Crown Prosecution Service. We've prosecuted for other departments. We can do it here. That should be done straight away. And these convictions, the remaining convictions, need to be looked at en masse.
Both Rishi Sunak and Sir Keir Starmer have joined calls for Paula Vennells to be stripped of her CBE. She was the Post Office's CEO between 2012 and 2019, when the company routinely denied there was a problem with the Horizon IT system. A petition calling for Miss Vennells to hand back her honour has surpassed 1 million signatures. They've suffered decades of anguish, but the victims of the scandal will hope that new impetus will finally deliver them justice and compensation.